Martin Scorsese's film career has been quite prolific, with the director creating some of the most memorable and iconic movies of our time. Goodfellas, Casino, and The Wolf of Wall Street being among those which immediately spring to mind as instant classics. One issue I often run into with Scorsese's films is their runtime. In many cases, it feels as though the director could have benefited from tighter storytelling. It was because of this that I went into Scorsese's latest film, Killers of the Flower Moon, his longest film to date, with some trepidation. However, I found this movie to be completely gripping from start to finish. At no point during the movie did I feel as though it were a slog to get through. This film is a grand achievement in storytelling by the seasoned director, and one that only someone of his experience and expertise could tell so effectively. Killers of the Flower Moon tells the long-forgotten and buried story of the heinous murders of numerous members of the Osage Nation. The story begins shortly after the Osage tribe have been uprooted from their lands and relocated to the harsh territory of Oklahoma. In a twist of fate, the lands happen to be rich with oil. This brings the Osage Nation not only great wealth, but also new dangers in the form of opportunistic conmen. Killers of the Flower Moon tells the story of what happened to several members of the Osage Nation in what will later become referred to as the Reign of Terror. Robert De Niro portrays Richard Hale, a ruthless wolf in sheep's clothing, who concocts a nefarious plot to swindle the Osage people out of their oil rights. De Niro gives a tremendous performance as the cold-blooded Hale. He proclaims himself to be a friend to the Osage while he slowly crafts his plan. The key to his scheme is to have his nephews marry Osage women in order to inherit their oil rights. This is a common practice among shysters, as the rights can only be inherited. DiCaprio plays Ernest Burkhart, Hale's nephew. He has just returned from overseas after serving in World War I and travels to Oklahoma to live with his uncle. Upon Ernest's arrival, viewers get a small glimpse of just how wild the small town has become, with people arriving by the trainloads, hoping to get in on the action brought by the oil discovery. Abundance and debauchery abound as the after effects of a rapid rags-to-riches story plays out before the viewer's eyes. Hale wastes no time with bringing Ernest in on his grand plan to eventually obtain the oil rights. Ernest is portrayed in the film as a simple, borderline dim-witted man eager to please his uncle, and quickly gets on board with his uncle's scheme. Ernest's uncle sets him up with an automobile, quite the luxury for the time, so that the young man can work as a cab driver, a perfect means of meeting young, wealthy Osage women. Just as planned, Ernest quickly meets Molly, played by Lily Gladstone, a young Native woman whose family holds oil head rights. Ernest and Molly have a rather quick courtship, and the two are soon married. And shortly after, tragedy begins to befall Molly's family. Lily Gladstone gives an exceptional performance as Molly Burkhart. She is mesmerizing whenever she is on screen, and is extremely effective with her portrayal of Molly's heartbreaking fate. Killers of the Flower Moon is a beautifully shot film. It feels authentic and manages to capture the grittiness and wild nature of the newly settled land. While the film depicts the realities of the atrocities committed against Native peoples, it doesn't beat the audience over the head with it. Rather, it focuses on the heinous acts perpetrated by key individuals. The actions taken by Richard Hale are despicable and show the depths to which someone can sink because of greed. Scorsese's ending for the movie was creative and provided a touching tribute to those who suffered and lost their lives. The performances in the film were exceptional, right down to the smallest roles. By the time the credits roll, you will feel the weight of the heartache and tragedy the Osage people, especially Molly Burkhart, have endured. I definitely recommend Killers of the Flower Moon and expect the film to receive many nominations come award season. That's my 2 cents on Killers of the Flower Moon. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.